My sister humiliated me at Thanksgiving after taking $500 a week for a year. Now I left away, revealed her lies, took peace. I gave my sister $500 a week for 1 year, but on Thanksgiving she said in public, "You are annoying me. Why did you come?" I was shocked and went away. 24 hours later she begged, "I should have known better. I really should have." But when Karen came to me last year and told me she was struggling to afford college, I did not even think twice. She was my little sister, and I'd always looked out for her. She told me she was drowning in tuition, books, and rent. She said she had nowhere else to turn. Our parents were not the most generous people. They had always favored Karen, but when it came to money, they were tight with everyone. They never offered to help me when I was in college, and they did not help her. At least that is what she told me. So I stepped in. I was not rich, but I had a steady job. I lived in a small apartment, and I did not have a lot of expenses. I figured, what is $500 a week if it helps my sister get through school? That is how it started. Every Friday, without fail, I sent her the money. For months, I felt like I was doing a good thing, like I was the responsible one in the family. But then, little things started to seem wrong. She never talked about school. No complaints about professors, no stress about exams, no mention of projects or grades. At first, I thought she was just being private. But then, out of nowhere, Joseph, our younger brother, casually mentioned something that made my stomach turn. We were on the phone one night, and he was telling me about some drama at home when he said, "Oh yeah, Karen's place is nice. I mean, she shares it with her friends, but it is a lot better than here." I paused. "Wait, she has roommates?" Joseph hesitated. Yeah, she did not tell me that. She made it sound like she was having trouble paying the rent on her own. That was one of the main reasons I sent her money. I did not say anything to her right away. I just started looking more closely, and another red flag appeared. One night, Joseph and I were talking again, and I asked him about Karen's classes. He got quiet before he finally said, "I do not think she goes anymore." That hit me like a punch in the gut. I pressed him for details, and he finally admitted that she had not been going for a while. She had failed a few classes, stopped going altogether, and was probably on the verge of being expelled. That was it. That was the moment I realized I was being played. So I made a decision. I was not going to cut them off completely, at least not yet. But I was done being a fool. Instead of $500 a week, I sent her $250. She noticed immediately. Within minutes of sending it, she texted me, "Hey, you only sent $250. Mistake." I ignored it. An hour later, another text. "You forgot the rest." Then another. "Hello." I still did not answer. She did not say anything after that. 2 weeks passed. Every Friday, I sent her $250, and every Friday she remained silent. I figured she got the message. I had no idea what was coming. Thanksgiving was 2 weeks away. I was not planning on going home that year. I had nothing against the holiday itself, but I had learned that family gatherings usually meant unnecessary stress. But then Joseph called me. "Come on, man, it is just one dinner." So I went. Big mistake. When I got there, everything seemed normal. Mom was carving the turkey. Dad was setting the table. Joseph was fiddling with his phone. For a moment, I thought maybe I overreacted. Maybe Karen just needed time to cool off. Then Karen came downstairs. She did not greet me. She did not even look at me at first. She walked straight into the living room, sat down on the couch, and then said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Why did you come at all? You annoy me." The room went silent. I just stared at her, thinking maybe I misheard. She scoffed. "No one invited you." I looked at my parents, waiting for them to say something, anything. But they just kept carving the turkey like it was nothing. I did not say a word. I just grabbed my keys, turned around, and walked out. Not one person tried to stop me. 24 hours later, Karen was at my door with my parents. I did not expect to hear from Karen after what happened at Thanksgiving. If anything, I figured she would spend the next few weeks bad-mouthing me to our parents, maybe send a few passive-aggressive texts before finally moving on. I was wrong. The next evening, just as I was settling in for a quiet night, I heard a loud, insistent banging on my apartment door. Not the knocking kind, the kind that made my neighbors stop whatever they were doing to listen. I had a feeling I already knew who it was. I opened the door, and there she was, Karen, and right behind her were our parents. Karen pushed past me like she owned the place. Mom followed, shaking her head in exaggerated disappointment. Dad lingered in the doorway for 1 second before stepping inside, closing the door behind him like it was some kind of intervention. I did not say a word, just crossed my arms and waited. Karen dropped onto my couch as if she had been personally inconvenienced by my existence. Her expression was sour, irritated, as if I had done something to her. Then she finally spoke. She did not apologize, did not acknowledge anything that had happened the day before. Instead, she demanded to know when I would send her the rest of the money. That was the moment I realized how deep her sense of entitlement ran. She actually believed that I owed her, that I was obligated to send her money just because she decided she needed it. There was no gratitude, no acknowledgement that I had helped her for 1 year, just an expectation that I would continue. When I told her the payments were over, she scoffed as if I was joking. She did not even look concerned, just annoyed. My parents were not any better. They acted like I was being cruel, like I had done something terrible by deciding to keep my own money. Mom told me that Karen needed support, that it was my responsibility as her older brother to help her. Dad nodded along, already bored with the conversation. That is when I laid it all out. I told them that I knew about the roommates. I knew she had lied about living alone. I knew she had not been to class in months and was about to get kicked out. I told them how Joseph had been the one to let it slip. The response was not what I expected. Karen did not look embarrassed or caught off guard. She just rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. Mom barely blinked. Dad sighed and mumbled something about how it was not a big deal. That was when I really understood how deep their favoritism ran. Mom actually defended her, saying that she was a girl and needed help, that she was not built for the same struggles I was, that it was easier for men to make money, so it was not fair for me to hold it against her. It was like something out of a bad sitcom. Karen just sat there with her arms crossed, waiting for me to cave, as if this was a small fight, and I would give in as soon as I calmed down. That is when I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and canceled the automatic transfers right in front of her. As soon as she realized what I had done, her face contorted with rage. She jumped up from the couch and screamed that I could not do that I had no right. Mom gasped as if I had just committed some unspeakable crime. Dad sighed, already tired of the conversation. Karen kept demanding to know what she was going to do like it was my problem. I told her she could figure it out like the rest of us. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Mom gave me a long, disappointed look before following her. Dad just shook his head, mumbled something, and left without another word. I locked the door behind them and sat down, feeling lighter than I had in months. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. But Karen was not done. Not even close. I thought that was the end of it, that Karen would pout, complain to our parents, and eventually move on. Maybe she would find another way to pay her bills. Or maybe she would actually get a job for once. Either way, I was done. But Karen was not going to let things go that easily. The next morning, I woke up to a barrage of messages. Some from her, some from Mom, some from numbers I did not even recognize. I ignored them at first, assuming it was the usual guilt trip. But when my phone kept buzzing every few seconds, I finally gave in and checked. Karen was furious. She went from demanding that I fix this to insulting me in rapid succession. She called me selfish, ungrateful, a horrible brother. She said I had no idea how hard she had it, and that I was ruining her life for a little money. Mom's messages were even worse. She told me that Karen cried all night, that she did not know how she was going to pay the rent, that I had abandoned my own sister. She kept repeating the same thing. Family takes care of each other. The numbers I did not recognize? Karen's friends. She had actually told them that I refused to help her, and now they were messaging me on her behalf, calling me names, telling me I was a bad brother. One even had the nerve to say that it was my responsibility as a man to take care of the women in my family. It was so ridiculous that I almost laughed. Instead of replying, I blocked every single number. That should have been the end of it. But later that evening, just as I was about to go out for groceries, I opened my apartment door and almost walked right into Karen. She was standing there with her arms crossed, looking like she had not slept. Behind her, Mom was rubbing her temples as if the whole thing had exhausted her. Dad was nowhere to be seen. He probably did not want to deal with it at all. Karen wasted no time. She told me I had one last chance to make this right, to send her the money and stop being so petty. She did not even ask at this point, just expected me to agree, as if this was a minor inconvenience, and I was just being stubborn. I told her no. She did not take it well. She started ranting, pacing up and down the hallway, listing all the things she needed money for: rent, food, bills, unexpected expenses. She said she did not have time to get a job because she was too busy. When I asked what she was doing, she waved me off as if the question did not matter. Mom chimed in and said I was being unnecessarily cruel. That Karen was family, and I had an obligation to help her, that I had more money than she did, so why did it matter? That is when I told them the truth. I was not as well off as they thought. I was not struggling, but sending Karen $500 a week had added up. Over the past year, I had given her $26,000, more than enough to cover whatever she needed. I told her that I had to put my own life first, that I could not just keep giving her money while she did nothing. Karen did not care. She called me selfish, told me I did not love her, that if the roles were reversed, she would have helped me, which was a complete lie. I asked her one last time why she did not get a job. She finally snapped. She admitted that she had a job, but she quit after 2 weeks because she hated it. She said the work was stressful, that she was not cut out for it, that she deserved better. She even said she felt I owed her because I was the oldest. That was it for me. I told her in no uncertain terms that I would never send her another dime, that she needed to grow up and figure things out for herself. Karen did not say another word. She just stormed off, pushing past me on her way down the hall. Mom gave me one last disappointed look before following her. I closed the door and locked it behind her. I did not know what would happen next, but I had a bad feeling that this was not over yet. For the first time in a long time, my phone was silent. No messages, no missed calls, nothing. Karen had gone completely silent. I expected more tantrums, more attempts to manipulate me, maybe even another surprise visit. But instead, she disappeared. No texts, no voicemails, not even vague social media posts calling me out. It was eerie. And for 1 second, I thought maybe, just maybe, she had finally realized she needed to take care of herself. Then Joseph called. He usually did not call unless something was really important. So I picked up. His first words made my stomach drop. "Dude, Karen's moving back in." I sat up straight. "What?" "Yeah, she is back with Mom and Dad. Just showed up yesterday with her stuff. Mom says it is temporary, but I do not know, man. It is Karen." I sighed and rubbed my face. So, that is what her silence was about. She had not figured things out. She just found a backup plan. Joseph continued. "She has been complaining non-stop since she got here. She keeps saying it is your fault. Mom and Dad obviously let her do whatever she wants. You dodged a bullet, dude." I did not even know what to say. I should have been relieved that she was not my problem anymore. But I knew exactly what was coming next. 1 week later, I got the call I'd been waiting for. "Mom." I let it go to voicemail, but a few minutes later a text came through. "Call me. We need to talk." I already knew where this was going, but I called back anyway just to get it over with. She did not even say hello before she jumped in. Karen needed to come home, but their house was not big enough for 4 people. They were not willing to fully support her, and Dad was getting frustrated. And then she said the words I knew would come. "If you are not going to send her money, at least let her stay with you for a while." I actually laughed out loud. Mom did not appreciate it. She said Karen just needed a few months to get back on her feet, and it would not be fair to let her struggle when I had room. I asked if Karen had even looked for a job. Mom hesitated before finally admitting she is still adjusting. Adjusting? Karen had been living rent-free for 1 week, doing absolutely nothing, and now they were going to dump her on me. I shut that down immediately. I told Mom there was no way Karen was moving in with me. If she did not want to work, that was her problem. Mom did not take it well. She accused me of abandoning my family, said I was being cruel and selfish, and that I was holding a grudge over a few unkind words at Thanksgiving. I hung up. That should have been the end of it. But when I came home from work the next day, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Karen standing outside my apartment with 2 suitcases waiting. I stood there for a few seconds just staring at her. She was not crying. She was not begging. She was just standing outside my apartment like she belonged there, as if it had already been decided. The suitcases told me all I needed to know. She was not there to ask if she could stay. She had already decided to move in. I walked past her, unlocked my door, and stepped inside without saying a word. She grabbed one of her suitcases and tried to follow me in. I blocked the doorway. Her expression changed to instant frustration. "Seriously?" I asked what she was doing here. She scoffed and said, "Mom said you would let me stay. She told me to just come over and get settled in." I almost laughed. I told her in no uncertain terms that she was not moving in, that I had already told Mom no, and that it was crazy to show up unannounced with suitcases. Karen did not flinch. She rolled her eyes and muttered something about me being ridiculous. It was as if she had expected resistance, but thought I would give in eventually. She even tried to go in again. I did not move. She sighed dramatically and crossed her arms. Where else would I go? I told her it was not my problem. She scoffed. You have the space. It is not like you have a roommate or a girlfriend or anything. Why do you even care? I told her I cared for my peace, for my sanity, for not being manipulated into taking care of an entitled adult who refused to get a job. She hated that answer. Her voice got louder. She said I was pathetic for leaving my sister out in the cold, that I was selfish for not helping my family. She even had the nerve to say, "It is just until I figure things out." I asked her if she had even tried to get a job. She made a face as if I had just asked the dumbest question in the world. Mom and Dad said, "You take care of things." That was it. That was all I needed to hear. I stepped back, grabbed the door, and said, "Then go to them." And I slammed the door in her face. She did not slam it. She did not scream. She just stood there for 1 second, probably in shock. Then I heard her muttering angrily to herself before she grabbed her suitcases and stomped off. I should have felt bad, but I did not. An hour later, Mom called. I did not answer. She left a voicemail, angry. She said Karen had come home hysterical, that I had humiliated her, that she could not believe I would treat my sister like that. She even threw in, "I did not raise you to be so heartless." I listened to the whole thing and then deleted it without responding. That night, for the first time in a long time, I slept like a baby. But I was not stupid. I knew Karen, and I knew this was not over. I thought Karen showing up at my apartment with suitcases was the worst of it. I thought it was her last, desperate move before she finally accepted reality. But Karen always had one more trick up her sleeve. A few days passed in silence. No texts, no calls, nothing. It was almost too quiet. Then out of nowhere, I got a notification that my bank had flagged an attempted transfer of $500. I had not sent any money to anyone. I checked the details, and my stomach turned. The wire request had come from Karen. Somehow, she had saved my account information from all the times I had sent her money before, and she was actually trying to withdraw another $500, as if she was entitled to it. I immediately called my bank, closed the account, and changed everything. New passwords, new security settings, even a new account. Then I sat there staring at my phone, waiting for her to contact me and try to explain herself. She never did. Instead, Mom called. I let it ring. She called again and again. Then a text. "Karen told me you locked her out of the account. She needs the money. Richard, call me now." That was it. That was the moment I knew there was no fixing this family. I called her back, not to argue, just to say one thing. I told her I was done with Karen, with them, with all of it. I told her I was not going to be manipulated or guilted or robbed ever again, that Karen was not my responsibility, that I did not owe them anything, and that from that moment on, I was cutting them off completely. Mom started to scream. She called me selfish, cruel, ungrateful. Said I was leaving my family for a little money. Said I would regret it. I hung up in mid-sentence. Then I blocked her, blocked Dad, blocked Karen. It was over. A few weeks passed. My life got quieter. My phone did not explode anymore. No more surprise visits, no more guilt trips, no more entitled demands. It was the most peaceful I had felt in years. Then Joseph called. I hesitated for 1 second before answering. He was the only one I had not blocked, the only one I actually trusted. He sounded casual, as if nothing had happened. After a bit of small talk, he suddenly said, "Hey, so I was wondering, can I borrow $5,000? I almost dropped the phone. You are joking, right?" There was a long pause. Then Joseph burst out laughing. "Dude, you should have heard yourself. I got you so bad." I sat there stunned for 1 second, then started laughing too. He got me. For a split second, he actually got me. We talked for a while, and before we hung up, he said, "For what it is worth, I think you did the right thing. Mom and Karen are still mad, but Dad really does not care. He barely talks about it. Karen is unhappy, though. Apparently, she actually had to get a job. Shocking, right?" I smiled. Not my problem anymore, and for the first time in my life, I really meant it. Update. It has been about 6 months since I cut ties with Karen and my parents, and I have to say, life has never been better. My bank account is not bleeding $500 a week. I do not get guilty texts every few days, and I no longer have to deal with Karen's endless entitlement. But just when I thought I had heard the last of her nonsense, something unexpected happened. Joseph called me out of the blue. We still talked here and there, but this time his tone was different. He was not joking or teasing me, he just said, "You are going to want to hear this." Apparently, Karen's situation had gone downhill since I cut her off. In fact, she had to get a job, one that she obviously hated. But here is the kicker. She ended up moving out of our parents' house because even they got tired of her. At first, they had no problem letting her stay rent-free, but when Dad got fed up with her constant complaining, he told her she had to start contributing either by getting a better job or paying rent. She threw a fit, said it was unfair, called them selfish. Sound familiar? Long story short, Karen tried to manipulate them the same way she did me, and it did not work. She thought they would cave. They did not. She did what she does best. She found a new target. Joseph told me that Karen had moved in with one of her friends, the same ones who used to text me and call me a horrible brother, the same ones who swore they would always support her. And guess what? They kicked her out after 2 months. She did not pay rent, did not help with bills, treated their apartment like a free hotel. They soon got tired of it and told her to leave. And here is the kicker. After burning every bridge she had, Karen actually tried to reach out to me. I checked my blocked messages later and saw an unread text from a new number. It was Karen. She did not apologize. She did not admit she was wrong. She just sent a message. Hey, I know things got messed up earlier, but I really need a place to stay for a while, just until I figure things out. I stared at it for 1 second. Then I deleted it without answering. Joseph laughed when I told him. He said, "Yeah, I figured she would try. I guess you are her last option now." Not anymore. I made my decision 6 months ago, and I have no regrets. Karen made her bed. Now she has to lie in it.